I'm your host, Psychotic Mr. L, and welcome to my channel. It's good to see everybody again. I hope you guys have been watching my other videos and enjoying them very much. Today's video, we are doing Spider-Man, and I'm very excited about this one because this is one of the main reasons why I got a PlayStation to begin with, is I wanted to play this game, this and Bloodborne and God of War, but I've been looking forward to this game for a long time, and not only this one, but also Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. I've just been looking forward to them. Now, I have to say that I had a lot of fun playing this game. It was a really great, awesome game. Enjoyed it. It takes around 45 hours or so to get all the trophies in it, and that includes not just the base game, but the DLCs, because I do the base game in this video, but I also do all of the DLCs, which includes, the Heist, Turf Wars, and Silver Lining, which are 3 story expansions, and 1 update DLC that adds New Game Plus and Ultimate difficulty, which I ended up doing as well. Now, there are around 74 trophies in the game, including the Platinum itself. There is 50 from the original base game, well, 51 including the Platinum, and then there are 23 that come from the DLCs itself. 7 from each of the story expansions, like I said, the Heist, Turf Wars, and Silver Lining, and then that New Game Plus update added 2, which is just beat the game on New Game Plus and beat the game on Ultimate difficulty, which you can stack at the same time, and I'd much, rather recommend doing it that way. Now, out of all the trophies, none of them are missable, none of them are glitchy or unattainable or anything like that. It does require 2 playthroughs though, pretty much fully, to get all of them. Actually, kind of 2 1/3 or something, because for one of the DLCs you need to unlock the electric webbing stuff as well, so you might have to do a 3rd playthrough. It just depends when you want to do the DLCs. I myself, it took 2 whole playthroughs plus a little bit of a 3rd playthrough just to get those electric webbings unlocked in order to do the DLC that requires them. So it might end up being that, but honestly, you could, if you just plan it out, you could do it in definitely just 2 playthroughs and that's it. You don't need to do that extra little 3rd playthrough thing. So, for anybody that has been actually watching my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I've been doing it now for about 1.5 years, and I'm just kind of still getting into the motions of all of it. But I want to get some subscribers. I want to do some challenges too. And the first thing I want to do is trying to get to a goal of at least 100 subscribers here on YouTube. So if I can get to that 100 subscribers, the first game that I'm going to do that I really don't want to do is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. For anybody that absolutely knows this game, it's god-awful, it's garbage. Potentially ruins the entire Arkham series. So yeah, if you want to see me suffer and play this game and actually make a video about it and actually spend the 40 plus hours it takes to get all the achievements in it, subscribe, because if I get 200 subscribers, this will be the first game I do. So if you like this video today and you want to see me suffer a little bit in the future, please give me that subscribe, alright? So pretty much the game starts off right away with Peter Parker in his apartment in New York City, and at this point in the story, Peter Parker's been Spider-Man for quite some time. I don't really understand exactly how long, but my guess is a few years at least. I think at some point in the story it says 8 years or something like that, but I might be mistaken. But yeah, so the story starts off right away, pretty much with Peter Parker in his new apartment or old apartment or whatever. Either which way, he just owes rent money for it. And yeah, from here you just pretty much go right out the window and immediately jump right into the game as Spider-Man, just kind of swinging through the city, getting used to the mechanics and how it works with the swinging. And I will say the swinging is really, really nice in this game, especially when you get more leveled up and you can go faster and you unlock skills for better swinging abilities and things along those lines. The swinging becomes really, really, really fun in this game. But then from there, right after learning how to swing, you just kind of jump right into the main story with getting to Fist Tower. In Fist Tower, though, you get pretty much introduced to the entire fighting combat of this game. It's very smooth when it can be and very tough when it can be as well. It's hard to explain. It's kind of a little similar to like the Batman Arkham games in a way, but also not. But it's similar. It has similarities in my opinion. But anyways, this is pretty much an entire prologue and tutorial of the game just to kind of teach you all the basics when it comes to the fighting. But while working your way up through the tower and fighting all these guys, you eventually do get introduced to Fisk himself, Kingpin. So pretty much not too long after being introduced to Kingpin on a giant computer monitor, we eventually encounter him in his office at the very top of the building. Yeah, he's just Kingpin, and he actually becomes the very first main boss fight of the game, the tutorial boss, and pretty much this is also to get you into the game, get you into the world of the game. Fisk and Spider-Man already kind of have a history. They don't like each other, and they're aware of everything that's going on with each other and stuff like that. And So, you know, Spider-Man here is here to beat the crap out of him. It also introduces you to Fisk as a brute kind of enemy, which is going to be a enemy that will be pretty frequent throughout the main game. They're just bigger versions of the main henchmen of the game, but that's essentially what he is. So you have to fight him like that, which essentially just involves dodging his attacks until you can web him up and then just keep attacking him and stuff like that. But eventually I do beat him, and then that unlocks me my first trophy in the game for doing so.
The Kingpin is heading to prison. End of an era.
Then pretty much right away after that, we get introduced to Peter's boss, Dr. Otto Octavius, who happens to also be known as Doc Ock for anybody that doesn't know, and is a very big villain to Spider-Man in the comics, if not one of his main villains besides maybe Green Goblin or Venom. He's definitely in the top 3. But it's interesting to see him more as a mentor in this game and as his boss and somebody that Peter looks up to. Not that he wasn't that kind of in the comics, but it's interesting to see in this game that Doc Ock doesn't exist yet and it's still Otto Octavius. So we're introduced to him very early, right after the whole Fist thing. It's pretty much the first main side quest is going to meet your boss and helping him out, and you can either like it or not like it, but it's still a really interesting concept to me. And you can tell that they have like this bonding relationship, kind of like he looks up to him, like kind of like a father and his hero and stuff like that. And you can also see that Otto is working on some sort of augmentations for limbs and stuff like that here. So it's kind of hinting that that's where the story might be going. Now, not too long after that, you'll eventually get introduced to collectibles and how to unlock them on the map in order to see them. And one of those collectibles just happens to be these book bags right here, which collecting the first one gets me my next trophy in the game. I got a trophy. Then continuing on with the main story, you go back to the lab in order to fix up your suit because it gets heavily damaged. And Otto just happens to walk in and see you with the Spider-Man suit. So he is Otto Octavius. He's not stupid, so he kind of, you know, maybe puts 2 and 2 together, but he actually just kind of thinks you're Spider-Man's friend and not Spider-Man itself. So he's just kind of like, cool, awesome. No wonder you've been busy working on the side and stuff like that. And then just kind of moves on with his life after that. Now, not too long after, while I was exploring the city, I'm doing a Fisk hideout, which is something we'll talk about a little bit more later into this video. But this is where I unlock my next trophy in the game, which is for getting 10 perfect dodges. And how this works is essentially every time an enemy's about to hit you, you see the little like web design pop up above Spider-Man's head. You just have to dodge out of the way, but it counts as a perfect dodge when it's right about to turn blue and then you dodge. So at first it's white, and when it turns blue and you dodge, that's when you know you did a perfect dodge. There'll be a little bit of slow motion to it as well. But doing this for my 10th time unlocks the next trophy for me. Hi, Mimi. Now, going back to these Fisk hideouts, essentially what they are little bases around the city where a bunch of Kingpin's henchmen are, and there's about 6 waves of enemies per hideout. And all you really have to do is just defeat all the enemies, all 6 waves, and it clears out the hideout. There's roughly 10 or 12 of these around the map, and you do have to complete all of them in order to get 100% completion on the game map itself, which is also related to another trophy. Now, while doing a Fisk hideout, if you notice in the left side of the screen here, there are challenges for this hideout, and each hideout has its own different challenges, and you'll also notice it with the crimes. They'll have challenges too. So the next trophy I unlock in the game is for completing a Fisk hideout while also completing all of the challenges for the hideout itself. The good thing is you do not have to do this with every Fisk hideout or criminal challenges or whatever. You only have to do it with just one, and trust me, that is a blessing, because I couldn't imagine doing all of these challenges with all of the other Fisk hideouts. I feel as though it would be insane. So anyways, completing all of those challenges in this Fisk hideout unlocks my next trophy. Continuing on with the main story, we then get introduced to Aunt May in person. She works for a shelter program known as Feast, and essentially it's just, you know, it feeds the hungry, it gives homeless people a place to sleep, stuff like that. Pretty good organization, a pretty good thing and decent thing to do. But not only do we get introduced to her here, we also get introduced to Martin Lee, which, if anybody knows, is a character I would love to see live action in a Spider-Man movie. because he is, well, a little bit of spoilers, and you're going to find out very soon, Mr. Negative. And Mr. Negative to me is just one of the most badass Spider-Man villains ever. And it's been a real shame we've never actually seen him in person, live action, in any of the movies yet. And I'm hoping that down the road, eventually we will. But I'm happy to know he is in this game, and it actually did make him relevant and important. Then after that, the next trophy I unlock in the game is known as Wing It. You get it for essentially just disturbing 500 pigeons that are on rooftops while you're swinging around the map. There's no really way to track this, but believe me, it's incredibly easy, obviously, because it's only the 5th trophy I unlock in the game. So just play naturally, you will eventually unlock it. By the end of the game, you probably disturb millions of pigeons and you don't even realize it. But yeah, that's my next trophy in the game, Wing It. Then pretty much in the very next main story mission of the game, we end up running into MJ for the very first time. We find her camera, and she's kind of broken into this like warehouse area, and you're down here kind of just seeing what's going on. Can't really remember. There's like an artifact or something here. But you find her camera, you're introduced to MJ, and then it actually does a little bit of a, setback where you actually go back about 15 minutes earlier, and you play as MJ. And you just kind of do like a small, brief, stealth section here where you have to get around this lady. And then you go into her office, and then from here there's a statue you got to mess with and put the pieces all in the right places and mess with it. And then you find a file talking about something called Dragon's Breath. And that's essentially the main story of the game. This is essentially the thing that drives the story, at least for most of it. She then gives the file over to Peter, back where it resets back to where you're playing as Spider-Man. She gives the file over to him, and then you just kind of move on with your life. Then we get introduced to Shocker. This little introduction of him is cool. I like his costume in this game, too. I think it actually looks pretty badass. But just pretty much a little short section here where you have to just chase him through the city and swing after him. Along the way with chasing him, though, this is where I unlock my next trophy in the game, the King of Swing, which essentially unlocks for completing a level 1 traversal challenge, so just kind of like swinging around the map and stuff like that. It's just one of those trophies that you'll easily unlock while you play through the game. Then we just immediately catch Shocker and stop him, and that's pretty much it. We then return to Martin Lee and show him the mask that we had obtained during the mission with MJ. He kind of looks at it because he kind of knows it. He pretty much explains that it's an old school Chinese opera mask, well, at least a replica of it, and that the symbol on the inside of it pretty much means demon. This is when you kind of learn about the demons, just a group of killers essentially, and in the game, and they will pretty much be there for the rest of the story going forward, or at least for most of it. But yeah, then we both just kind of move on with our life after learning about the mask. Then while doing some side stuff in the game, I unlock my next trophy called And Stay Down, which is essentially for completing a level 1 combat challenge, which once again is just something that you're going to unlock naturally while playing very early on, because it's just going to be one of those things that's very easy to achieve. Then not too long after that, I unlock my next trophy in the game for going to the very top of the Avenger Tower. And yes, the Avenger Tower is in this game, and you don't see any of the Avengers throughout the game, but they're there, so they're canon for some reason. What's that? Oh. Okie dokie. I then unlock my next trophy in the game for getting the entire map unlocked, which is for completing all of the surveillance towers. So this is the landmark. It's this building looking symbol. Sorry, it's going really crazy fast, but this building looking symbol right here on the map. We're going to get this one here right now, and it should be my trophy for getting all of the landmarks in the game. So yeah. Okay, so this is going to be for my final backpack in the game. This one right here, this green symbol that looks like a backpack. So yes, another collectible trophy will be out of the way in this area. This is the final backpack that I have to collect. There are 55 of these in the game. Once again, very easy. They're just kind of on the map after you get the little satellite dish things, and that's it. So this one right here should be my final backpack for the trophy, so let's get it. Where is it on there? Yeah. Okay, so right here, this is known as a Fisk hideout, this crown-looking symbol. Right here, as you can see, this should be my final one in the game for this as well. Pretty much what these are, if you've ever played, like, the closest thing I can think of what they are is kind of like, if you've ever played Far Cry, they're kind of like the bases, and you have to kill many guys to take over the base. That's essentially what this is, the exact same thing. So this should be my final one right here, so I'm going to skip to right when I'm about to unlock the trophy. And yeah, so this is it right here, this red crown looking symbol on the map. For my next trophy in the game, it's to finish all crimes. This should be the last one right here. They look like this symbol. They are completely random. Just kind of do them as soon as they unlock, because there's not a set location. They just kind of pop up as you're swinging around. So this should be my trophy right here for the last one in the game. I then return to the main story of the game and focus on that a little bit more, and we return to Doc Ock back at the lab to help him with some stuff. He's there helping somebody out who ends up being a Marine or something, and he's helping him learn how to use one of the special arms that he made in order to help people. But this is when we get introduced to another huge character from Spider-Man, Norman Osborn. And he kind of just comes in exactly kind of how I would picture Norman to look, like a red-headed, powerful dude, but wearing green, and so kind of exactly how I would expect him to kind of look. It's weird. I actually think that how he looks in this game is better than I've ever, I think, seen him look in anything else. I kind of like how he looks in his style and the feel and the look of him and his smile and everything. But you get a lot of tension here between Otto and Osborn. That comes into play later, for sure. Absolutely. There is definitely tension there. There's a reason why there's tension there. You also find out that Osborn is mayor of New York City at this moment in the story as well, which is very important. And as far as I know, he isn't Green Goblin yet. You know, maybe he turns into it by the end of the story. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But we'll get there. But pretty much Osborn shows up to tell Otto that he's shutting his laboratory down. He's taking all the equipment back, and Otto and now Peter are going to be out of a job. And as you can tell, this obviously makes Otto very upset and pissed off, and he's not really too happy about it. And this will most likely have consequences down the road. I don't know. Once again, we'll just have to see when we get there. I then return to the main story of the game, and Shocker broke out of prison. Even though you kind of just captured him a couple of missions ago in the main story, he just kind of pretty much breaks immediately right out. So yeah, he kind of just meet him at this bank here, and you end up having a huge boss fight with him. The boss fight's pretty simple. It's not that bad. Just kind of shoot webs at him until he goes down on the ground, and throw stuff at him until he goes down on the ground, and then just keep punching him and punching him again. And eventually he'll even tire himself out from doing attacks where you can do an ultimate swing web strike thing on him, and just keep doing that too, and just keep attacking him until you beat him. But the main focus of what you find out during this fight is that he was actually helped being broken out of the prison from the demons themselves. So that's the interesting thing. It's kind of like, why are the demons want to help people that are in the raft? You know what I mean? Why are they helping villains get out of there? And also beating him unlocks my next trophy in the game. I then unlock my next trophy for getting 75 stealth takedowns. Trophy for 75 stealth takedowns. That's cool, man. That's cool, man. Then continuing on with the main story, we get introduced to Jefferson Davis, a police officer of New York City, and he just happens to also be Miles Morales' dad. And for anybody who knows the comics or kind of knows where this might go, well, then you know where it's going. And for everybody else, we'll get there. Then a little bit more into the main story, we get introduced to our next main character, Black Cat, who doesn't really play a huge role in the base game, but she'll be very important when we get to the DLCs. But pretty much for the base game, she just kind of introduces you to another new collectible that you have to kind of go around and get. It's like a little cat figurine thing. And you pretty much just go to a little site on the map, and then you look through the little telescope thing, and you have to just kind of zoom in on it and find it. The easiest way to do it is just kind of move the thing around until it turns green, and you know you're looking at the right spot. And you'll also see this big sparkling thing in your view as well, and that'll be the cat. You take a photo of it, and then that's the next collectible. And yes, there is a trophy for getting all of these, along with the trophy for getting the first one itself.
Hey, Yuri.
So right after doing a story mission where you're at a Fisk construction site and you have to stop a bunch of demon guys that are there, along with a huge chase through the city of a helicopter to stop that as well, you'll be introduced to Miles Morales, along with his mom, and you already remember his dad, Jefferson Davis, that we met a couple of minutes ago in another mission earlier in the story. But essentially it's re-election day for Norman Osborn to be mayor of the city, and they're all going to go there in support of him, along with Jefferson also getting a medal from Norman himself. And they aren't the only ones that are going to it. MJ and Peter are also in the crowd watching to see Jefferson receive his medal from Norman on election day. But as anybody that knows the backstory to Miles Morales, you can obviously see where this is going. Jefferson Davis, Miles' dad, is pretty much the equivalent of Uncle Ben for Peter, where it's kind of like the great loss that the character has to go through in order to become the hero he needs to be, kind of thing, and this part of the story is no different. So things pretty much go down exactly how you think they would. Just something bad happens. Norman ends up getting a phone call on his phone. It's kind of weird, you know, kind of a threatening kind of warning at the same time. And then all of a sudden, boom, bam, a bunch of people start activating and being all black and white and stuff and start running into things and just start exploding out of nowhere and just start causing a bunch of chaos. From here on out, pretty much Peter and Miles get dragged out from all of the wreckage. And yeah, then you end up playing as Miles for a little bit, and this is pretty much like your actual official introduction to Miles. So after playing as Miles in a short little stealth area of the story, you get introduced to this demon guy right here that's holding a stick, and it's all glowy with black and white stuff, and you're like, cool, man, but you're pretty much just trying to get back to where you last saw your dad alive before the explosions happen. And this is where you get introduced to Martin Lee actually being behind everything. Kind of, I mean, if anybody really knew, they kind of saw this coming, because Martin Lee is Mr. Negative in the comics and stuff, and he is in this game as well. And Mr. Negative's just awesome. I'm just so happy they're doing Mr. Negative. But anyways, so then Miles returns to where he last saw his dad, and yeah, unfortunately, well, just like Uncle Ben for Peter, Jefferson Davis doesn't make it, and this will ultimately be the starting point of Miles Morales becoming Spider-Man himself. The story then skips ahead 1 week to Jefferson Davis's funeral, and this is technically just where Peter and Miles meet for the first time and have an actual full-blown introduction to each other.
I'm sorry.
And that completes Act 1 of the story, and also unlocks my next trophy in the game for completing Act 1 itself. Complete Act 1. I then unlock my next trophy in the game for doing 10 vehicle takedowns. I then unlock my next trophy in the game for tracking down Black Cat. Now, essentially how you do this is, from earlier, you get introduced to those little Black Cat collectible things that she introduces you to. So you need to collect all of them, and then you'll unlock this side quest known as the Cat's Cradle. And from there, you just follow the objective until you find her hideout, and that's essentially what the trophy is for. And also for getting a special suit that you unlock for finding the hideout itself. And the suit's actually kind of badass looking. I like it. But like I said earlier, those cats are involved for trophies, which one of them is for collecting a cat itself, and then also for completing the side quests associated with collecting all of the cats. So, in a way, 2 trophies are there for those cat purposes, things, trophies, statues, whatever. You just need to get them all, and then you get to this little hideout, and then you get a new suit, and then you get the trophy. Hey. I think that was a pretty cool, that's a pretty cool outfit, I think. Dang. I then get my next trophy in the game for using the subway 5 times, which is essentially just your fast travel system in the game. Okay, so shortly after Act 1, you're going to get a little side quest where it's going to involve you getting these pigeons right here. As you can see, this symbol for the pigeon that's right here on the map, this like bluish, symbol for it. So that's going to be a side quest you'll unlock from a guy on a roof right after completing Act 1 of the game. This is the last pigeon that I'm missing, so I'm assuming it gives a trophy as well because all the other collectibles so far have. So this is the last one right here I'm missing. It's kind of like if you've ever played the Assassin's Creed games and you have to find the feather and then you have to chase the feather along the rooftops until you get it. It's essentially the same exact concept here. You got to chase the pigeon through the buildings, swinging until you can catch the pigeon. It's literally pretty much the exact same thing. Hang on. Yeah. Then continuing on with the main story, we end up fighting a bunch of demons at like this warehouse and stuff, but this is where we get introduced to Silver Sable. I actually don't really know much about her really from the comics. I know of her existence and stuff like that, but other than that, I really don't really know anything else about her. I don't know really her backstory or anything like that, but we'll get more into that later, especially when we get to the DLCs. Okay, so these symbols right here looks like the red mask devil face thing. This is the demon hideout areas of the game. These will unlock after a certain story-related mission. But anyways, these are what they look like on the map. As far as I can tell, there's only 5 of them. This should be my last one in the game and unlocking my trophy for completing them. So, yeah. Yeah, take down each demon warehouse. Yeah. Okay, so this is my final research center in the game. This area right here, this purple looks like a magnifying glass of some sort. Like one of those ones you can put the little thing under the slide and you can look at it and do stuffy to it. So this is it right here. It's a purple symbol. This is the symbol for it on the map. This is the last one I have to do for another trophy in the game. Essentially, they're little tiny side quests that you do for Harry Osborn, and they all have something to do with like the environment, like making water cleaner or the air cleaner or just something to do with the environment pretty much. There looks like there's like 12 of these across the game. This specific one right here, which is the last one I have, will not open up and become available until after you do all the other ones in the game. Then this one will pop up on the screen and become available. So I didn't know where it was until I completed all the other ones. So this will be the last one for everybody. Will always be in this spot. So this is the last one for me, and it'll be my next trophy in the game for completing it.
Servers. Harry's work is safe.
Yeah.
We can finally get out of this weather.
Yeah. Trophy for completing all of the research stations. Yeah. Continuing on with the main story, we then break into Martin Lee's office back at the feast place where Aunt May and Martin Lee work. We just kind of do a lot of snooping here. We're trying to figure out what's going on because we do know now that he is Mr. Negative in this part of the story. And we're trying to figure out why or what his goal is here, what his plan is. And so we just kind of investigate the stuff in his office until we open up a doorway to a secret room where we kind of investigate that to see what's going on in there. And pretty much what you learn is that Martin Lee, or Mr. Negative, has a really huge obsession with Norman Osborn. So obviously something happened here. Mr. Negative really doesn't like him. He really doesn't want him as mayor, and he just wants vengeance, and he wants Norman to feel pain, and obviously there's an obsession here. He just does not like Norman, and he wants bad stuffy to happen to him. Then after leaving the room, we immediately get sidelined by the fact that Martin Lee's just kind of right there staring at the same exact door that you're about to walk out of, like he's psychic or something. But anyways, so we have a really kind of awkward conversation with Martin Lee because we know who he is and we know what he's doing, kind of, and we know he's planning bad stuffy, and he doesn't really know who we are, so we're just giving him kind of resting bitch face as we stare at him. But yeah, so that pretty much is all that happens here. We then return to the lab to work with Otto on his arm that he's been trying to, fix and spruce up and get better throughout the game. But he kind of gets upset because it just seems to not be working. Like, It gets a little bit better and a little bit better every time, but something always goes wrong a little bit, something glitches, and it starts to cause Otto to crack a little bit at the seams, you know what I mean? It starts to get a little bit angry, a little bit upset. He kind of feels like he's failing as a scientist, and not only failing, you know, himself, but failing his fellow man as well because of it. But here is where we get introduced to the most interesting part of this part of the game, is that he has some backstory with Norman. Not just about Norman being mayor and taking away all of his stuff, but him and Norman worked together. They were partners, you know. They started Oscorp together pretty much, and that kind of is a regret for him, because he lost out on that opportunity somehow back in the past, back in the day. And he doesn't really dive much into that exactly, but you know, maybe we'll get there. Maybe if we continue the story and you keep following and watching this video, you'll find out the great mystery behind the Otto and Norman extravaganza of 1941 or 1981 or possibly 2001. I have no freaking idea what year this game is supposed to be taking place in. Then right after that, you go and meet MJ, and she tells you about how her day was and what she did. And pretty much what she did was sneak around a warehouse from an address that Peter had given her earlier in the game. And it's in this warehouse where you get introduced to another enemy of Spider-Man, Tombstone. Essentially just a big dude, and he has invulnerable skin. He can't be hurt, and his skin can't be broken, and stuff like that, and he's just super strong, and that's pretty much all he is. But he's a pretty cool enemy in the comics and stuff. I think they did a good job with him here in the game as well. Then after being introduced to Tombstone, eventually MJ breaks into his office where she learns a bunch of information about what's going on, especially when it comes to the Devil's Breath and stuff like that, but also to these GPS trackers that she finds on his desk. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this mission is kind of weird because it is a main story mission, but it's kind of more important for a side mission that we'll get to later because there is a trophy for it. But it's weird how they did it, because you do have to do it as a main mission. It somehow connects both to the main story and to the side story, and it's kind of weird. Like, if you didn't do the side mission that's associated with this game, you'd just be very confused by some of it. I think that's how I felt anyways. We then break into the penthouse of Oscorp Tower, where we have to rescue this guy named Standish. His last name is Standish, and he's the lead designer or doctor or scientist, or however you want to phrase it, of the actual Devil's Breath itself. Because we do find out that Osborn actually is the one that created Devil's Breath, but somehow Martin Lee, Mr. Negative, is getting his hands on it and using it as a weapon against him. So there's kind of a little mystery there of kind of like, well, if Osborn's creating it, you know, why does Mr. Negative want it and want to use it against them? What's going on here? But anyways, we have to go in here to talk to the lead doctor to try to figure out if there's a cure or if there's a way to control it or stop it, because it does work like a really potent virus, and Spider-Man's afraid of that getting, you know, released through the city. And Standish is just kind of like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can't. Not sure. Norman's calling all the shots. Then right after that main story mission, I pretty much do the side mission I was just talking about that involved Tombstone himself. Essentially, you just go to the same warehouse where MJ was, you ask him a couple of questions, and then you have a boss fight with him. And the boss fight's pretty intense, actually, and then right after beating him, that's my next trophy in the game for completing that side mission and beating him. Oh. Then pretty much right away, right after that, I get introduced to Taskmaster, and he has these crates that look like this that are kind of all around the city. Each one has a different challenge associated with it, and yes, you do have to complete all of them in order to get 100% in the game, while also completing all of them to get challenge tokens, which you need to use to unlock stuff later. And quick note about the challenge tokens, there is only a certain amount of them in per playthrough. So if you end up spending your tokens a little weird, you can actually lock yourself out of getting a trophy later in the game, and you then have to start New Game Plus and get more challenge tokens on that playthrough in order to get that trophy. I'll get to that trophy when I get to it, but as right now, as you can see, there's 3 challenges. There's bronze, silver, and gold, depending on the score you get. And the higher the score, the higher the medal you get, the more challenge tokens you get for that medal. But yep, that's it. And then, so I get my first trophy for completing my first one, which is this one right here, for defusing all the bombs and under the time limit. And there are a couple of different challenges. There's the bomb one like you're witnessing right now, where you have to get to the bombs and put them out. There's also a fighting challenge and a drone kind of challenge where you got to chase the drone around the city. Now each one, there is a trophy for each one of those challenges as well, but for getting spectacular on that challenge. So you have to get the silver medal pretty much on each of those challenges. And this will be my first trophy right here for getting a spectacular or better on the bomb challenge.
So close to perfection.
Get spectacular or better in a Taskmaster bomb challenge. I then decided to do some more Taskmaster challenges along the way before getting back to the main story. So this one is the drone challenge right here. You essentially just chase the drone through the city and have to keep up with it and hit all the little blue bubble things that it makes along the way. And that's pretty much about it. And then when you get to the end, get that spectacular, and that's my next trophy in the game.
The drone. Good, but I can do better.
Get a spectacular or better in a Taskmaster drone challenge. I then continue the challenges by doing a fighting one next. Same thing, next trophy in the game is just for getting spectacular or better on the fighting challenge.
I'm so neurotic. I'm mad I didn't perform flawlessly for a criminal.
Then pretty much right away after that, because I completed a certain amount of Taskmaster's challenges, he immediately kind of like just runs up to you and kind of starts attacking you and stuff, and you have to have a boss fight with him. All I can say is for these boss fights, learn to counter very, very well. Okay. Because it's very quick pace, the timing for the counter itself, but he also just hits you really hard if you don't counter. So the secret to this fight, and there's going to be multiple times you have to fight him, is just using the counter ability. Make sure that you just master it. As soon as you see that little thing pop above your head for the spider sense, just immediately counter. Dodge out of the way, just do what you have to do. Even if you have to dodge and just get 1 or 2 hits in and then go back to just focusing on dodging until he swings again or whatever, that's the best bet, because honestly he just hits really hard, and I did die on him like a couple of times before I finally just learned that tactic of, you know what, I'm just going to make sure I dodge every single time. But yeah, so we do have our first fight with Taskmaster right here. Once again, sticking to just doing Taskmaster stuff, I then go on to the next challenge, which is a stealth one. Same thing, just take out the guy stealthily, get a high score until you get that spectacular, and then that's my next trophy in the game for doing that.
Guess I lost half a point for not sticking the landing.
Right on the Taskmaster stealth challenge. Here we go. Alright, Taskmaster challenges. This one looks like to be my last one right here. It's these orange circles that will appear on the map. Yeah, just do them all. There's about, I think I want to say about 12 of them to do all together. Assuming after I do this last one right here, I'm going to also have a fight with Taskmaster. I'm not sure. But I don't know if there's a trophy for completing all of them in general or for fighting Taskmaster. But this is my last Taskmaster challenge, so I'm going to do that now, and yeah, I'll see you when the trophy pops. And yes, that is my next trophy, is for completing all of the Taskmaster challenges that are in the city, each of them at least once.
Almost awesome. I should put that on a business card.
Complete every Taskmaster challenge in the city once. Then pretty much right away after finishing that challenge, I have my next fight with Taskmaster, and this one he's a little bit harder, he's a little bit quicker, hits harder, has a couple of different new moves, stuff like that. But it all comes down to that dodging out of the way and slash counter ability. I'm telling you, that's the only thing that's really going to make the difference. Especially if you have the upgrade to put the webbing on his face when you do a perfect one, it really, really helps. But that's all I recommend, just get really good at the dodging and get really good at the dodging. Then you just fight him like you would any other enemy. But that is my next trophy in the game, is for defeating him as well. Yeah. Defeat Taskmaster. Yeah. Returning to the main story once again, we then have our first official meeting one-on-one between Spider-Man and Mr. Negative. Pretty much we follow Mr. Negative all the way to this college party, and Spider-Man kind of infiltrates it, trying to figure out where he's going and who he's looking for and stuff like that. And he ends up looking for this guy who apparently is working with somebody at Oscorp to help with the Devil's Breath, and Mr. Negative wants to know exactly why, and that's pretty much about it from this mission. bottom left corner of my screen, as you can see, there's these different colored symbols down here. I'm going to zoom in on them real quick. These are the different kind of tokens in the game. There's challenge tokens, landmark tokens, research station tokens, and challenge tokens that you get from Taskmaster's challenges. These are essentially the currency you have to use in the game in order to buy your upgrades and to buy your suits. So it's very important to do these, and if you're going for 100%, you're going to get a crap ton of them through your playthrough anyways. But anyways, my next trophy in the game is for using one to do my very first upgrade on an equipment. Right, increase that. Oh, the trophy. Craft your first upgrade. From there, I continue on with the main story, and I have to break into Oscorp Industries. So you just kind of climb up the building, and you hack a couple of devices in order to get in there. But once in there, you just get to Norman's office, you run up to his computer, and on his computer, you learn about a bunch of stuff with the Dragon's Breath stuff that you've been trying to find out about that, you know, Martin Lee or Mr. Negative now has. And you actually learn some pretty interesting stuff about it, but the biggest thing that you learn about it is that it is actually a cure, or meant to be a cure, for all diseases like cancers and viruses and infections and stuff like that. That's actually Norman's real goal with it. His real goal isn't to actually be evil with it, is actually pretty wholesome. He wants to actually save people. So that's the biggest thing you take away from this mission and learn about it. So after that, I go back to working on some side quests in the game, and if you progress far enough into the story, you'll eventually unlock the corrupted student missions. It's just a series of side missions. There's about 6 of them in the game that you have to complete, and they all have something to do with like students from the college going crazy, and you have to stop them, and that's pretty much about it. Yeah, that's it. So there is 6 of them. There is a trophy for completing all of them, and this is the last one right here. So the next trophy I get is for completing all of them.
Keep the Wildcats on Saturday and we'll call it even.
Oh. Oh, all the corrupted student missions. Then going back to the main story, we have a small little stealth section again where we play as MJ and we have to sneak our way through a bunch of enemies while in Central Park. With the goal being that she eventually gets to Standish, who Silver Sable has trapped in a tent. So this is Silver Sable's camp that you were just kind of sneaking through. But anyways, so Standish is trapped in a tent and she wants to find out more information on what the demons have going on and what they have planned. And he kind of lets some information slip that they're going to Grand Central Station. And once she's trying to get that out of him, like the reason why they're going there, that's when kind of Spider-Man shows up and messes it up, and Standish accidentally gets knocked out, and they just kind of leave him there, and that's the end of that. We then return back to the lab for the main story to help Dr. Otto with his brain device in order to control limbs just using your brain. Obviously, you know where this is going to go. It eventually leads into, Doc Ock. But anyways, the most important thing that we actually learn about in this scene is that Dr. Otto is, well, he's not doing too hot, you know what I mean? He confesses to Peter that he actually is sick, and he does have a disease going on that is affecting his brain, and eventually it will completely shut down his body. So you kind of learn a little bit more of why he's so persistent on this technology and why he's so pushy about it and demanding with it. And another reason why he's hating Norman even more is because I think Norman is aware that Otto has this issue going on, and Norman just didn't care and stripped the man of his only hope of still being in what he considers useful, being able to use his arms and his limbs. But in this scene, that's pretty much the biggest getaway from that you get. You also learn that the device is working. It is making Otto happy. He's able to use it, and it's putting a big smile on his face. But the biggest takeaway is definitely that Otto is sick, and that's the main reason why he wants to get this done. Not just for himself, though, either, but for also all the other people that are sick that could use it as well. Alright, so this is for my next trophy in the game for completing all the little side objectives that are inside of Doc Ock's laboratory here. There's 2 different kinds. There's this table over here that has this little thing here. As we go into it, you can see that I already completed all of them. They're right here, but there's 10. You can't do all of them at once. They unlock as you complete the story. You'll be able to do more and more of them as you complete the story. I'm not even through with Act 2 yet, so you can complete all of them definitely by the end of, or before the end of Act 2. So I completed all 10 of these, so that's on this table. They're kind of like connecting circuits with wires and stuff like that. I'm going to show the last one that I did recently so you have an example from start to finish. And then over here on, where is it? Did I run past it? Oh, over here on this table is where the other ones are. There's 10 of them in here as well. As you can see, I have one left. So I'm going to jump into it and solve it and get the trophy for doing it, which is for completing all of these.
Time for some...
Oh.
That looks right.
Yeah, see, as you can see, that really wasn't that bad. Yeah, complete all optional projects in the lab.
You then do another small section of the game where you play as Miles, a little stealthy section where you have to sneak past all these guys. Pretty much just taking a shortcut in order to get the feast to meet up with Peter and Aunt May. And that's pretty much about it for this part of the game. Peter just wants to get Miles a job, give him something busy to do to keep his mind off of everything that happened with his dad, Mr. Negative, and everything like that. Aunt May appreciates Peter for doing it 'cause she thinks it's a really nice gesture. And she already knows who he is, and he knows who they are, and Miles knows them, and Peter knows them, and Aunt May knows them, and they all know each other, so it's a pretty nice little wholesome scene. Then pretty much right away after that, you get right back to introduce the Devil's Breath. It's right here in this red vial, you know, it's this red liquid stuff in the vial, and it's in the briefcase, and Dr. Michaels, this guy right here, is just kind of like, let's go, let's get this over with, or whatever. And that pretty much doesn't work out too good, because pretty much right away the demons know exactly where he is, and they immediately just capture him. Then they just turn him over to Mr. Negative, and Mr. Negative's like, hey, I'm Mr. Negative, how's it going? And just kind of drives away with him. But of course, we're Spider-Man, and we immediately catch up to the truck and try to put it to stop. But this ends up actually backfiring on us a little bit, because Mr. Negative decides to grab us and immediately uses his power on us. And because of that, you'll pretty much go into a little world that's inside of your own psyche, where you'll have to fight Mr. Negative here. There'll actually be a bunch of other guys here too, so it's just a gigantic like mob fight that you have to deal with. The only advice I can give is just keep focusing on the little guys around you, beating them up, build up that momentum bar, and that's pretty much about it. And watch out for Mr. Negative as he attacks you. But this is the first fight you have with him, not the final fight. So this fight isn't really the definitive of what it'll be like when you actually fight him. It's still a pretty cool little fight, but that's pretty much it. Fight the little minion guys, beat them, then just kind of do a quick time event with Mr. Negative when he interacts with you during it. Though beating Mr. Negative inside of your psyche does get you out of that situation, and Peter does actually stop the truck by making it turn over here, Mr. Negative does unfortunately get away, and he does escape with the Dragon Breath.
GCT. But what could they possibly need here?
You then play as MJ again, back now at Grand Central Station, which Standish had told you about in a couple of missions back. She goes here because there's an Oscorp convention going on, so she kind of wants to interact with all the different devices and stuff they have there, because she thinks one of them will be a clue to discovering what's going on with Dragon's Breath and why it has something to do with Grand Central Station. It just happens to be the same day there's this Oscorp Fest thing going on. So she doesn't really believe that's a coincidence. There has to be a reason why. And she's not wrong. There just happens to be a device that's there that pretty much takes any sort of liquid and turns it into a gas form and releases it into huge, gigantic quantities in the area. I don't really remember exactly what the device is called because it has some weird, long, complicated name. But yeah, she's not the only one that knows about it being there. So does Mr. Negative, unfortunately. And that's the entire reason why he wants to be there. And that's the entire reason why he is there. Kind of bad that he got away with the Devil's Breath, huh? Yeah, that's pretty bad. So pretty much what happens is Mr. Negative takes over Grand Central Station, and he calls Osborn and tells him that you need to come down here and you need to activate the switch to activate the Devil's Breath, because you're the one that created it. It should be you that activates it and ends up destroying and killing everybody in the city because of it. Like I said, this is a chemical that's supposed to be used as a cure to cure most diseases, but before being properly made, it can be used as a very big, strong bioweapon. and kill and make a bunch of people sick in a very short period of time. Ultimately, that's what Mr. Sinister kind of wants, but he wants Norman to actually be the one that presses the button. So he calls Norman and threatens him to come down here, and yeah, that's where it kind of goes from there, but Norman's like, nah man, I'm good. So with the help of Spider-Man, MJ is able to defuse the bomb to make sure that really doesn't happen and kill all these innocent people. And then we chase Mr. Negative into the subway station, where we actually get to have our real one-on-one fight with him on the subway itself. It's actually a really cool fight, I like it. But pretty much the gist of it here is you need to learn his combos and his moves and his attacks. After every couple attacks, you get to attack him a couple of times, but you want to learn which ones you have to actually dodge backwards, which ones you have to dodge left to right, and which ones you have to jump onto the ceiling. And you just kind of learn that pattern and do it over and over again as you get a little bit closer to him down the train cart as well. And then eventually when you get to him, you can beat the crap out of him until you beat him. And then he's finally taken away to go to prison, while also the Devil's Breath being captured as well, and now is being put into an armored car and taken away for safety.
Okay, so this blue symbol right here on the map should be my last side quest in the game, I believe. There's quite a few of them, and some of them are kind of hidden. They don't unlock until later in the game. And even as you can see, it says, district completion, Hell's Kitchen. The side mission there says 0 out of 1. That wasn't there earlier in my playthrough. So they kind of just pop up as you play through the story. I believe this is going to be my final side quest in the game. I could be wrong, but I believe that it's my final side quest in the game and my next trophy for completing all side quests. So let's find out.
Appreciate it, officer.
One question. Is it true you're from another world?
Yeah, it's called Queens. See ya.
Yeah, complete all side missions. Alright. We then return back to the lab and we find Dr. Otto here, and he has something to show us. He's gotten the claws to work. He has 2 of them now, fully functional and working, and they kind of blow Peter away. He's like, wow, you know? And so we get our first little look of what Doc Ock is actually going to look like and what the claws will look like. And I'm not going to lie, I really do like his character design in this game. I think he is really badass looking. Compared to the comics and other video game adaptations of him, I really do like the style of how he looks in this game. I think they did a very good job with the character model. You then meet up with Aunt May just to catch up on daily life activities, and she kind of asks you how your relationship with MJ is going, and how work's going, and your rent's going, and just stuff like that, just basic stuff. But the most important thing that we learned from here is that one of the Sable vehicles that was transporting the Devil's Breath unfortunately got broken into, and now the Devil's Breath is stolen again and back out on the streets. Oh no! So then pretty much right away, Spider-Man goes to the location where the Devil's Breath was taken. He finds the device that it was in from Oscorp, but that's not the only bad thing that's going to happen to Spider-Man this night. All of a sudden, there's a huge prison break going on at the prison that's over by the raft. And he does get a little nervous. He's like, how's the raft doing? And Yuri's like, it's fine. It's a high, security max prison. It's this prison that's having a breakout for some weird reason. So pretty much all we do is go down into the prison, and then we just fight a bunch of guys and just do that over and over and over again for about 5 or 10 minutes or so. Just literally a large amount of just basic enemy dudes that you're just fighting over and over and over again. Until you learn that this prison break actually isn't the real prison break, and the real prison break actually is at the raft. Maybe and that this prison break was a distraction the whole time from the real prison break at the raft. But on your way there, you get introduced to Electro, who you learn had actually broken out at the raft now, and he actually just kind of hits your helicopter and it goes crashing into the prison itself. Now this is when the story gets kind of nuts. Not only do you get introduced to Electro here, who broke out of the prison, but you also get introduced to Rhino, to Scorpion, and to Vulture, while also learning that Mr. Negative had broken out as well. You then confront all of them on the roof of the raft itself, and yeah, they just kind of continue to beat the crap out of you. Spider-Man just gets the shit beaten out of him over and over and over again, and he's obviously never been in this predicament where he's fighting 5 of his strongest enemies all at the same time, and he's clearly outnumbered, and he didn't really, this is not how he thought his night was going to go. So they continue, just pummeling the crap out of him, and yeah, it couldn't really get much worse than that, could it? Could it? Oh, wait. Aw, dude.
Stay out of our way.
Yep, not only did Dr. Octavius become his full-blown Doc Ock persona and fully take over the mantle of being a villain, but he was also the one behind all of this, behind the breakout, everything. Getting all these enemies together and now essentially creating this world's version of the Sinister Six. And this is where I get my next trophy for completing Act 2 of the story. Stuffy. And the beginning of Act 3 really doesn't get that much better for Spider-Man. Pretty much right away it starts off with Doc Ock releasing the Devil's Breath around the city, putting it into the ventilation systems and everything like that. And it just starts infecting everybody. It just spreads from person to person. It's very contagious and very easy to spread. It gets to Aunt May, unfortunately. She starts coughing up some blood. And the whole city also, in a way, blames Spider-Man for it. In a way, they feel like he's responsible because of how it got into the wrong hands and how it was being transported and how it got stolen. And somehow, in some way, they blame him. I don't really know why they ever do that, where they blame the hero. You know, the villains are villains for a reason, right? Because they're trying to succeed at doing villainous things, so why blame the hero? I then unlock my next trophy by using my gadget known as trip mines to stick 10 enemies together. It's very easy to do. You just hit one enemy with it, and then just another enemy just needs to be close by, and they'll just kind of smash into each other. And you just have to do it 10 times. It automatically knocks out both those enemies too, so it's actually really strong and overpowered. But yeah, just do that 10 times, and that's my next trophy.
Oh.
Alright, the next trophy I should get in the game is for completing all of these right here. They're known as the Sable Outposts. They look like this symbol, like a red S kind of symbol. This will not unlock until Act 3. There's like 5 of them or something, 5 or 6. They're essentially the same thing as like the Kingpin outposts and stuff like that, where it's just you literally fighting waves of enemies, and that's literally it. And you just fight waves of enemies around 5 or 6 until you defeat them. So this is the last one right here, so it should be my next trophy in the game for doing so for completing it, I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Take down each Sable outpost. Alright, this right here is the prisoner camp. This is what the symbol looks like for it. And it's my last one in the game for the trophy for beating all of those as well. They're literally the same thing as the Sable outposts and the other outposts in this game, where you just fight waves and waves of enemies until you just defeat them all. So yeah, let's hop into it so that I get that trophy out of the way as well. Yeah. Back in the slammer. Take down each prisoner camp.
And without realizing it, that actually happened to be my last thing I had to do in the city for the 100% completion in all districts. So that's my next trophy as well.
Nice going.
Oh. 100% all the districts. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the trophy for unlocking all skills in the game. This is the last one right here, so yeah, this should be it. Yeah. Unlock all skills.
Then a giant fire breaks out at the Feast Foundation building, and you save MJ, Aunt May, and Miles. We then get some intel about a place where we might be able to find out some more information about what Doc Ock is up to and what his plan really is. So we break into it, and there's a whole bunch of information here about all the enemies, about Scorpion and Rhino, and Mr. Negative, and Vulture, and everything like that. And then there's this map here kind of going over exactly what the plans might be, or hinting at exactly what Doc Ock is trying to do. But then all of a sudden we get a one-on-one conversation with Doc Ock himself, because he was anticipating that we'd actually end up here. And this was all part of his plan. So everything that we just saw in there in the map is irrelevant, because it's not actually part of any true plan. It was just something to try to trap Spider-Man here in order to get blown up and die. And then pretty much right after escaping, we get caught by Vulture. I don't know if this was actually part of the plan. It was probably a backup plan just in case Spider-Man ended up surviving the explosives. But anyway, so Vulture captures us, and he immediately drags us all the way through the city until he gets us over to Electro, and this is when we have our first real boss fight with the Sinister Six. It's Electro and Vulture at the same time, and it's a pretty decent boss fight. It's really fun. So far, the hardest boss fight I think that we have in the game. I know we fought Shocker earlier, and we fought Tombstone earlier, and they were okay, and Mr. Negative as well. Mr. Negative I think was actually funner than those two, but this one's pretty fun just because you're fighting two different enemies at the same time. So pretty much for one of them, you want to just kind of shoot the electrical boxes around the area so you can start attacking Electro. And then for Vulture, just as he kind of swipes by you want to do the counter attack on him in order to zip onto him and start attacking him as well. It's really not that bad. You get used to it. And you just kind of keep doing that over and over until you finally defeat him. And then defeating him, that's my next trophy in the game. Grounded. Ooh.
Need to update your...
Defeat Electro and Vulture. Skill tree. All the way in this skill tree, unlock this one right here, the skill air tricks. Pretty much while you're swinging, you just kind of do you hold triangle and square at the same time, triangle and circle at the same time, and you just point it into a different direction each time. So you got to do all four directions, which is forward, left, forward, right, back, or left, you know. But we'll look into it later. I didn't really look into it too good last night. I should probably look into it better. But
There's the reservoir. No sign of Scorpion. Better take a closer look.
there we go. Yeah, chain 4 unique tricks when he in the air.
We then run into Scorpion in Central Park, and he ends up giving us like a little bit of a sting here. And from here on out, Spider-Man ends up just tripping hardcore balls, yo. Like he just got done taking the biggest whiff of peyote he's ever taken in his life. So for the next several minutes, you just kind of hallucinate really bad. The entire city's filled up with like a big ocean that you have to kind of swing through, and pretty much just to get stuff to make a cure in order to stop it from happening, and that's all that essentially happens here. And you also just kind of end up naked at the end as well. You somehow lost your Spider-Man suit, and you just have the helmet on, you know, the mask on. I don't know. Don't really know how it happens, but it happens, and I'm A-okay with that. Yummy. Then pretty much right away after that, we go meet up with Aunt May to see how she's doing, and unfortunately, yeah, she's still sick. But she's doing that whole trope, you know, where she's like, "No, I'm fine. It's nothing. You know, just don't worry about it." But then she immediately falls over and is like, "Oh God, the pain." But anyways, that's pretty much all that happens here. And then Miles gives you a call, letting you know that he's trying to steal some medicine. While trying to do this medicine, he's trying to find it in one of the Sable compounds to get the medicine. And at the same time, while he's there, all of a sudden Rhino shows up, and Rhino just starts going ballistic in the area, somehow knowing that Miles is there, but not really knowing how Miles is there. And you kind of just have to do a small stealth section in order to escape the area. So then pretty much right away, us as Spider-Man show up to save the day and kick some Rhino ass. We end up having a one-on-one boss fight with him right here, where pretty much all you have to do is dodge out of the way when he tries ramming into you or tries throwing rocks at you, stuff like that. And if you notice, as he's running towards you, there are these things hanging above you that you have to use like your webs on to pull him down and smash into him. That's really the only way to actually do damage to him. So you have to kind of time it just right to where when he's right underneath it, you just kind of have it come down on top of his head and smash him, and then you can go on over to him and start hitting him and hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. It's a little tricky at first to get used to, but trust me, after a few attempts and a few tries, you eventually will do it, and it's then it becomes quite easy to you. But then all of a sudden, surprise, Scorpion's now involved in the fight too. So now, once again, just like how it was Electro and Vulture, it's now Rhino and Scorpion, both of them at the same time. The fight here doesn't really change for Rhino at all. You have to just keep doing the same thing you were doing before. But as far as Scorpion goes, there is a little bit earlier in the story where you fight him, but it's not really him. And it's the same concept from that fight. You just kind of web him up a little bit until he falls onto the floor, and then you just kind of beat the crap out of him. It's really not that bad. It seems intimidating at first. I was actually kind of intimidated when I first ran into it, but it realistically isn't bad at all. Once you get used to how to fight both of them, it's quite easy. And then that's it. And then after defeating both of them, that's my next trophy in the game for doing so.
Force Together time might help you boys learn to play nice.
Okay, that was pretty.
All right, Yuri, that's 4 down. Just duck.
Defeat Scorpion and I don't know. That was pretty good though. That was actually enjoyable.
Then pretty much continuing the main story right after that, there's this very, very, very long sequence where you play as MJ. It's just one huge, gigantic, stealthy sequence where you're kind of just sneaking through Oscorp. And your goal here is to get all the way up to the penthouse, which is, Norman Osborn's house, where he lives with Harry. And a little backstory here, playing the story, we don't really dive into it too much, but Harry's supposed to be overseas in Europe going to school. So that's where he's supposed to be if you're curious as to where he's been the entire story, and we only see Norman. Anyways, so you're pretty much going up to Norman's penthouse and trying to get information and find out what's really going on. So you want to hack into his computer and all that stuff. I'm going to skip all the big amount of stuff that you do here because it's just a lot of it. So I'm just going to go from one main thing to the next main thing, just so you get the gist of exactly what goes on. The first major thing that happens is you get to Harry's room and you kind of see a whole bunch of medical equipment in there, wheelchair and a medical bed and all that kind of stuff. And MJ is just kind of as confused as you are walking into it. So that's the first major thing here is you realize that something else is really wrong with Harry, possibly, and he's not really in Europe. Then Norman and Sable show up to the penthouse, and this is when MJ just kind of realizes she's just going to have to be a lot more stealthy than she just was being, but that's pretty much all that happens here. Goes to just being a much more harder stealth mission again. Then after finishing that stealth section, we break into Norman's lab that he has up in the penthouse. There's a lot of interesting stuff up here. He has a whole bunch of like radioactive spiders in cages, and there's other stuff over here. And on the other side of the room, there's like a big tank thing that's holding something that's alive in it, but you don't really know what it is because you can't see into it, but it's there. But the biggest thing that you find out in here is that MJ goes through some records on the computer and she finds something called the Martin Lee incident. And this is when we get the real backstory of why Martin Lee or Mr. Negative hates Norman so much. So essentially years ago, long story short, essentially years ago, Norman and Otto Octavius had started the company together. They created some sort of serum or concoction or whatever you want to call it, and they tested it out on Martin Lee, which gave him his abilities. In doing so, though, one of the side effects and the things that came from this is that Martin Lee accidentally killed his parents in the process of gaining his abilities. This is what caused the divide between Otto and Norman. And that's why Otto had left the company and went to go do his own thing because he felt like that's not what he wanted to use his brilliance for, nothing like that. While Norman continued down the path of trying to do stuff with it because he realizes that maybe something good can come from it over time, but most likely not, because all you ended up doing was creating Mr. Negative in the end anyways. Then after learning all this information, we make our escape from the building and jump over the edge where we get caught by Spider-Man and don't die. That's always a good thing, right? Then pretty much right away, right after that, Mr. Negative shows up to Oscorp Industries and just decides to take Norman all on his own. So pretty much you make your way through the entire building in order to just say Norman, and you get there just in the nick of time because you get there right before Mr. Negative's literally about to chop his head off or something. You get that right there just in time to save him. And then you finally have your actual one-on-one final boss fight with Mr. Negative. Now, I will say that this fight is a lot more better than the previous fights we've had with him. The train fight was cool and fun and all, but this one feels more like an actual one-on-one, just me and him kind of fight. They exchange words and stuff like that. But just like all the other kind of fights in this game, too, it's a little bit the same. You kind of throw stuff at him. Wait until you see the triangle pop above his head in order to zip line to him and then just start attacking him. The best way to honestly do it is to let him tire himself out by just attacking over and over and making sure you're perfect dodging them. He'll eventually get tired out and then you can just do the zip line attack on him whenever you feel like it, kind of, and just get a few hits in every time. But that's essentially it for the entire fight, and this is the last you do see of Mr. Negative. We do defeat him here, and then that is my next trophy in the game for finally beating him once and for all. Now, the trophy, staying positive, that is the trophy for defeating Mr. Negative once and for all. So this is a pretty long video sequence here. It's about 7 minutes long, so I'm just going to go through the basic, most important parts of it. But pretty much Spider-Man takes the cure back from Mr. Negative. This is the cure that can cure Aunt May, along with a lot of other innocent people that need help. But then all of a sudden Doc Ock shows up kind of like Thanos, and he's kind of like, I'm going to do it myself because Mr. Negative keeps failing apparently in his eyes. So he shows up, confronts Mr. Negative, and then he just kind of beats the crap out of you, tossing you all over the place, and then takes the cure from you also as well. Then he just kind of grabs Norman and he's like, peace, I'm out, and then he leaves. Then Silver Sable takes us back to a feast where Miles is and Aunt May is. MJ is, in order to get some help because, obviously, Peter, Spider-Man got really messed up from Doc Ock beating his ass. He eventually does heal and he is doing a lot better, but not Aunt May so much. She, unfortunately, is taking a turn for the worse and she's very, very sick. So Peter's immediately like, I have to do something. I need to go now and I need to get that cure back in order to try to save her. Then randomly, one of the spiders from the lab that MJ was in just happens to be on her jacket. Don't know how it got there and why it's been there for so long without doing anything to her. But it ends up, going off of her, going around the area, and then biting Miles. And, well, we'll get to that.
Oh.
Peter then has one more trick up his sleeve in order to fight Doc Ock, and that's to go back to the lab and make a whole brand new suit, which kind of uses the technology that Doc Ock is using in his suit, but also in a way to counteract it, thus giving Peter the ability to pretty much use his gadgets and stuff a lot more frequently and a lot more quickly as well. It's also a really, really, really badass looking suit, I'm not gonna lie. So then Otto's with Norman climbing up Oscorp Tower, and I'm honestly just gonna let this scene kind of play out from here for a little bit. It's about 2 minutes long or so, but it's actually a really good scene, and I think it kind of wraps up what really has been going on and everything like that really quite so nicely. So I'm just going to play it from here.
The world will know the truth before they mop you off the pavement. Tell them what you did. I never. Everything you have is built on lies! Lies! You stole my company, my ideas! Now, the truth. The truth. Okay. The truth is, you were only ever worth a damn when you worked for me! The truth is, you could never accept that I'm better than you! You're a failure, Otto! And you always will be!
So we then have our one-on-one final boss fight of the game with Doc Ock himself. This fight is really intense. It's really fun. I think it's actually pretty good, damn good final boss fight to have in a game. There's a lot of emotional things behind it, as far as like now he's fighting who was his mentor and who he looked up to, and now he has to do this because he's, he hates the person that he's turned into, but in a way he knows it's just the device's fault, and that he knows that somewhere in there he's still in there, and there's maybe hope of finding him, getting him out, if he just defeats him in this fight. And it's a really, really good fight, and it goes on for actually quite a while too. As you can see, you have to kind of go around the area swinging, you have to throw stuff at him when he climbs up the tower. Kind of like the other boss fights in this game, nothing really too different, except it's more about what they're telling each other during the fight and what they're saying to each other that makes it way more emotional. But then during the fight, you learn this big information that Doc Ock has.
Such a disappointment. Parker.
He knew.
You knew? I tried to warn you, Peter, but you didn't listen. You knew. I won't let you in. This means too much to me.
Not more than it means to me!
Yep, Doc Ock knew the whole time that Spider-Man was Peter Parker, and still continued to do what he did, knowing it was going to hurt a bunch of innocent people, knowing it was going to hurt somebody that looked up to him like his father, like a mentor, knowing it was going to hurt somebody that he looked down at, like his son, you know, like he thought that this was like a son figure to him. He was like a father figure to him, and very emotional. Very good way to tell a story and to create a villain and to create this loss and pain for Spider-Man, because in a way that's what that character is about. He goes through all this loss and this pain and this suffering, and it's kind of like he's the only one that's strong enough and capable of being able to handle it and never go to the dark side, you know what I mean? So knowing all of this from Otto, that he knew the whole time, and he still did everything he did regardless of who it hurt or how it hurt him, truly shows that Doc Ock is really the one that's here now, and Otto Octavius is truly gone. And at that moment, Peter just kind of realizes it for himself, and there's nothing else he can do about it now except finally just put him down. And you have this one last epic fight with him on the side of the building, and it is pretty epic.
The man you were! That man is gone.
But in the end, you do defeat him. Doc Ock is beaten, and you do get the cure back. And then we get to Aunt May. Spider-Man returns with the cure, and she's doing really, really bad. She's very sick, and it's a very sad, touching moment, because he has a tough choice to make. Does he use the cure right now and only save her, or know what he already has to do and use it in order to save everybody else? And what makes this scene so great is that not only did Otto know, but Aunt May knew the whole time that he was also Spider-Man. And she just wants to see her nephew's face one last time. Very, very touching, sad moment. Like I said, this is a great game. I really love the writing in this game, and this is just one of those moments I did not see coming, really, you know. Very touching moment, and unfortunately, yep, Aunt May does pass away. The game then comes to an end with everybody in the city getting the cure and getting saved from the devil's breath. The funeral for Aunt May, where we learn that she's going to lay forever with Ben side by side with him, just like how Peter, and I think everybody agrees we would want. That Otto is alive and is thrown into jail on the raft, where he'll probably remain for the rest of his days. I don't know. We'll see when we get to the sequel. Maybe he's in it. I have no idea. Then it skips to 3 months later, where Peter and MJ end up meeting up in this diner, having a little bit of a conversation about really what they want out of life, what they want from each other, stuff like that. You know, adult conversations and stuff. But pretty much it ends with them essentially saying that we're going to give it another shot and we're going to start dating again. So that's pretty, to end it on that note's at least pretty good, you know, on some sort of an upbeat note there. And that's when it ends and goes to credits. Then after the credits, we learn that Miles and Peter move in together, and that Peter learns about Miles having also spider abilities, and Peter's like, whoa, and then it just kind of ends. Obviously leading into, I'm assuming, the Miles Morales game that comes out after this, which I eventually will get to. We then get one last after the credit scene confirming that Norman is in fact alive, and he returns back to the lab. And now if you remember from earlier, I talked about that gigantic pod that had something living in it. Well, now you get to see what's in it. And it just happens to be Harry floating around in a bunch of green goo. But there's something else in there too, if you pay close attention. You might just see it, and it's definitely huge sequel bait, which obviously we'll eventually get to that game as well. But as you can notice from all the black crap that's around Harry, I guess he's in there with the symbiote. So Venom is coming. And then after that, I get my next trophy in the game for completing the main story. Before starting the DLCs, I then start on cracking down the rest of the remaining trophies I have left, or at least a few of them, before moving on to the DLCs. And the first one I do is unlocking 5 different suits.
Yeah, so there's that trophy. Wearing 5 different suits as well, I'm assuming.
Then the trophy for unlocking all suits. Then the trophy for crafting 15 different upgrades for your gadgets.
15 times. Yes. $15 upgrades.
Then the trophy for interacting with 10 citizens on the streets. Very easy. You can honestly just get it right at the very beginning of the game too. Just pretty much go on the street and just start pressing square with all the people that you see, and you'll interact with them, and you just need to do it with 10, and that's my next trophy for that.
That's right. It's
Pretty much just get this out of the way right at the beginning of the game if you want. But greet 10 citizens.
Now, before getting the last trophy in the game in order to unlock the platinum, I then decided to hit all the DLC trophies. Now, the first one I decided to do is the New Game Plus trophy, along with doing it on Ultimate Difficulty. I wouldn't really consider these DLCs though, but they are considered DLCs just because it was from an update that came out later, but it's not really a DLC because it's not really a new content that is added. I mean, I guess it is. They added New Game Plus and a new difficulty. But anyways, here's the ending of me beating that playthrough and then unlocking those 2 trophies for doing so.
Yeah. Complete a playthrough on Ultimate Difficulty. Finally, that's done. And one more time. Complete a game on New Game Plus playthrough. Yeah.
Now, after finishing my second playthrough of New Game Plus on Ultimate Difficulty, you notice I have 1 trophy left in order to unlock the Platinum from the base game. I'm going to save that one for last because it's actually pretty simple and easy to unlock, so I'll save it for last. So now I'm jumping into the main 3 DLCs. Like I said, the first one is the Heist, then it's Turf Wars, then it's Silver Lining. Each of them is an story expansion that takes place after the main events of the game. I think roughly about 6 months after the events of the main game. Each one takes about 4 hours to complete, and they all each have 7 trophies, and it's roughly the same trophy list for each DLC. Like 4 story-related ones, and then 1 for beating a certain side mission, 1 for getting 100% in the DLC, and then 1 for getting all criminal acts completed, like in a district or something. But it's pretty much the same for all 3 DLCs, so you just kind of go through it. None of them are missable, none of them are glitchy, none of them are unattainable, or anything like that. Now, fair warning, there is a issue I had with this game with the DLCs, and it's something that isn't something on Xbox, so I didn't know this. So on Xbox, you just get a game, and you get the DLCs, and you just play them. You don't have any issues. For some reason on the PlayStation now, you have to get a certain version of the game to play the DLCs in the area that you live in. So the example is, I got screwed on this game because I buy my games physical. So the game I bought, was apparently a European version of the game. And you notice, because it says Peggy 16 in the corner, just like this. And then the version of the game that you actually need to get is well, it depends on your region, like I said, but the version I needed to get was the United States, or the American version of the game, where it says rated T for teen, just like this in the bottom right corner. So all because I didn't get the right version of it, I actually had to go out and buy the right version of it. So I have 2 copies. So just for anybody in the future that's wondering or needs help or doesn't know why their DLCs aren't playing or whatever, make sure you buy the right version of the game.
So starting in order, the very first DLC I jump right into is known as the Heist. So the story starts off about 6 months after the events of the main game, and you run into Black Cat, and you're here at this museum, and there's this painting here on the wall that she wants to get, she just wants to get really, really bad. And you're kind of like, why? And she just really won't tell you. She's being Black Cat about it. But she ends up taking that painting eventually, and then she ends up breaking it in order to get a little USB drive thing out of it, and then she escapes. And that's when we unlock our first trophy from the DLC for completing that mission with Black Cat.
Yep. Complete the Maria mission. The first trophy of the...
We then run into Black Cat again, and we confront her on everything that she's doing and why she took the painting and what's on the USB drive. She pretty much doesn't say much, but she does say that she's doing it for Hammerhead, which is a big kind of mafia kind of villain for Spider-Man. And she reveals something that apparently he has her son, and that she will kill her son unless she does this mission for him. Which is kind of weird because Peter's like, I never knew you had a son. And then he starts really thinking about stuff because, they apparently got a little naughty together, so it might be his. Just like from the base game, there are crimes again in this DLC. There's about 5 in each district. So my next trophy in the game is for completing all the crimes in one district.
Complete all crimes in his district.
Now, just like in the base game, you'll get introduced to a character named Screwball, who she's from the base game, but she's only involved in the side quests, not the main quest in any way. Same thing for this DLC, and actually all 3 DLCs. She has kind of like her own story that continues from one DLC to the next, and you have to complete all of her challenges. And her challenges are pretty much very similar to like the Taskmaster challenges, where you just kind of have to do them and complete them, and the higher the score you get, the better medal you get, either bronze or silver or gold, which I think is called spectacular for the silver, amazing or ultimate for the bronze, something like that. But you need to complete all of her challenges, and you need to get a spectacular or better, spectacular being the silver medal, or better on every single one of them. So this is just me being introduced to the very first challenge of it.
Okay, so this is the last painting I have on the map. This is it right here. This is what the symbol looks like. It looks like a little picture frame with the mountains and a sun and stuff in it. When you get close to it, you're going to see this green circle on the mini map. It's going to kind of tell you a direction to go in. As you can see, like 140 meters, and then points kind of in a direction you have to go. It's going to be somewhere over here, and you're going to find like something that lights up gold like this. Then it's going to be something you have to destroy. Now, this is the last one I have. I'm not sure if there's really a trophy for it, or if it leads into a trophy, but this is the last one of these in the DLC. So you kind of break open the item, and you get the thing, and then you're going to talk to this cop, and that's really about it.
Yeah, so for completing all of those last paintings, you end up blocking a side quest called Like a Fiddle, and you just have to complete that side quest, and that's how you get the trophy associated with the paintings. Essentially, the side quest tells you that Black Cat's father is in town, and he was an old con man from back in the day, and did exactly what Black Cat's doing now in present day, and he was also known as Black Cat back then as well. And that he made you go all through this huge scheme in order to pretty much make his daughter not look as guilty as she is, pretty much, I guess, while also getting some artifacts that he had stolen from back in the day. So, yep, that's my next trophy for completing that side quest, which you can only do from completing all the last paintings.
Cynical like everyone else.
So, like a fiddle. Yeah. Okay, so there is, these are the screwball challenges. They are these purple looking circles. Each one has a different symbol inside of them. I believe there's only 5 in the entire DLC, and you need to complete all of them for a trophy, and you have to get at least 1 medal on each one. Obviously the bronze one is the easiest one to get, but so this should be my last one. All of them are kind of a little bit different, kind of. Mostly the same, kind of. I don't know, they're weird. They're kind of like the Taskmaster challenges from the base game. So essentially the same thing, and you get a medal on it, and there's just a trophy for completing all of them and getting 1 medal. So this should be my last one right here. So let's see what happens when I complete it. There we go.
Crazy Psycho Olympics.
Get spectacular or better on all the screwball challenges.
Then yet again, for the 3rd time in this DLC, we run into Black Cat again. She's breaking out of some place that she was using the USB for something, but we still don't know what yet. Spider-Man catches up to her, he tries to get her, but she throws an electric thing at you, and it ends up actually just breaking your web shooters, and you can't actually use your webs. But that doesn't really stop us. We're fucking Spider-Man, so we're gonna do whatever it takes. And you go on some long chase, chasing her through the city, up through the buildings, down into the subway and stuff like that. But eventually you do catch her, you confront her about everything and let her know that you're here for her as like a friend and stuff, and you will help her. You just need to give in and help back. And she finally agrees to it, and she's like, okay, if we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do this. And she agrees to help you as long as you continue to help her. And then that's when I get my next trophy in the game for completing that quest as well, which is the quest for chasing her.
Alright, complete the Black Cat chase.
And then we get hungry, so we have a quick snack time with some good old-fashioned New York style pizza. Then we go right into a segment where we're playing as MJ for a little bit. Just once again, a little bit of a stealth section like it is from the base game. Just stealth through all the guys. She's in here thinking that there's vital information on exactly where Black Cat's son might be, and exactly what also might be on that USB, and what Hammerhead might want with it and stuff like that. She's just kind of looking into information about everything going on so far in this DLC story. That's about it. And then she doesn't really find anything, and then she escapes.
Close as I ever want to cut it.
We then meet up with Black Cat at the shipping yard over on the docks, and there's a lot of stealthy guys here to do as well and kill and get rid of them stealthily. There's snipers and stuff. But essentially, Black Cat says that there's a gigantic safe here, and in the safe is something that they can use to help her get her son back from Hammerhead. Then after clearing the area of all the bad guys, we end up actually getting into the safe. There's a lot of saber weapons in here and stuff like that, but we find out that Black Cat, well, she's doing Black Cat things, and what I mean is she's screwing us over. She locks Spider-Man in the safe, and she's kind of just like, yeah, I kind of just want the USB for myself. There is no son, and I don't really have a son, and there never was a son, and I just kind of used you to help me get another USB drive that I'm going to use for stuff later. So, bye. Now, though Black Cat was lying about the son, what she wasn't lying about was Hammerhead's involvement and everything. So everything that she is stealing right now from that safe is from Hammerhead, including that USB drive, which you just helped her steal. His two goons come in, they tell the boss, the big boss Hammerhead, that the USB drive is missing, and that Black Cat was the one that took it because there is a GPS tracking device thing on the drive itself. So they're going to go track it down, and then they put a hit on her head to pretty much kill her, and no matter what, kill her and get that USB drive back. Spider-Man, knowing this, starts to panic, and he's like, uh-oh, and he has to get there as quick as he can to try to stop it from happening. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen, and Black Cat goes boom. And that marks the end of the first DLC, getting my next 2 trophies in the game. One for completing the DLC itself, the main story of the DLC, and another for getting 100% completion in the DLC, which is for completing the main story, all the side quests, and the collectibles themselves.
For 100%ing it as well. So, yeah. And then there's that trophy for that. 100% the heist. Yeah.
We then jump right into the second DLC, Turf Wars.
He's gone to the mattresses, hoping to...
Now, the DLC pretty much starts off right away with us doing an investigation with Yuri into Hammerhead and into his goons and what they've really been up to and how they're trying to get more saber equipment in order to use it for something, but we just don't know what quite yet. And though he was mentioned a lot in the first DLC, this is our actual first introduction to Hammerhead right here. He kind of just has Yuri and a bunch of her men captured, and he just kind of, you know, head bashes a dude to death. And that seems to be his ability right there. He head bashes you to death and you die. And then he kills all the rest of everybody else here, and that pisses off Yuri, and then Yuri and Spider-Man escape, and that's really much about it. While also Hammerhead gets away as well. I then get my first trophy in the DLC for completing that mission.
Damn.
Yuri,
Complete blindsided mission.
Then, just like the previous DLC and the base game, there are crimes in the districts again. About 5 crimes per district, and my next trophy is for completing all the crimes in one of the districts.
Yep. Complete all crimes in a district.
Now, a little bit further into the main story of this DLC, you'll be doing a mission where you have to stop some trucks. And you just do them like how you would any other mission, where you jump on top of them, you fight the guys, and then you stop the car, and and they're trying to get away with like money and sable weapons and stuff like that. Well, this time there's a little bit of a twist to it. You actually find out that this is a distraction to keep Spider-Man away from the police station. And in turn, what ends up happening is Hammerhead ends up attacking the entire police station, stealing a whole bunch of saber weapons and armor and stuff like that, and killing a lot more police officers, and it absolutely just breaks Yuri at this point. She's lost enough people, enough friends, enough colleagues, co-workers, and it absolutely at this point just breaks her, and then she just kind of pretty much says, I'm going on a vengeance mission from here on out, and there's nobody that can stop me. And then I unlock my next trophy in the game for completing this mission.
Complete the lockup mission.
And just like the previous DLC, there's more screwball challenges and just the same exact trophy, completing all of them with a spectacular or more. So that's my next trophy in the game. This is the final screwball challenge right here. And I complete it with a spectacular, so I get the trophy for completing them all with a spectacular or more.
And I look good doing it.
Ooh, getting a spectacular or better. So this is the Hammerhead Fronts side quest subjective thing that you have to do in this DLC. Essentially, it's just like the bases from the base game where you go into a building, you fight a bunch of guys, like 6 waves, and that's it. There are 5 of these in this DLC, and they look like this symbol right here with the little Frankenstein head thing, whatever. It looks like Frankenstein's head. I know it's supposed to be Hammerhead's head, but it looks like Frankenstein more than Hammerhead. Is he supposed to be based off Frankenstein? I don't know. But anyways, you do all 5 of these, and that'll be my next trophy in the game.
Yuri's been disciplined lately. A lot.
Take down each Hammerhead front.
Now, earlier in the DLC, there is a mission where you have to find out about the Dons that lead the other mafia organizations in the city. And Hammerhead actually ends up kidnapping all of them. And this is them right here in a giant grave being filled with cement. So that's pretty much, you know, Hammerhead's plan here is he plans on wiping out the heads of all the other organizations in the city. So only he's left to be the remaining one, and he can take over all of the districts of New York, take over all the remaining people that were affiliated with those mafia gangs, and take them all for himself. And Spider-Man's here to save the day. And that's exactly what he does. He saves them just in time before the cement can reach their heads, so they're just kind of there. Obviously, they'll all be arrested since they're the leaders of the mafia families in New York, but I guess it's better than drowning in cement. But Spider-Man does know that Hammerhead's at the top of the building, and he's like, I'm finally going to put this towards an end, and I'm going to go confront him myself. So he just kind of works his way up to the top of the construction tower in order to fight him. Now, when you get there, you immediately see Hammerhead, and he's wearing, as you can see, a whole new, brand new suit of armor, all saber weapon grade armor. And obviously, this is what he had gotten from the police station earlier back a few missions ago. You then end up having a really intense boss fight with him. It is actually pretty intense. There's a lot of enemies everywhere. He hits really hard. He has like these laser attacks that are actually really hard to dodge. He's kind of like a brute enemy. You just kind of got to dodge around him and keep dodging until you web him in the face and hit a couple of hits on him, and then that's pretty much all you can do. In the meantime, just try to build up your life by fighting the basic enemies in the area and keeping your focus bar high. But eventually we do beat him. We prevail. We get him. And we have him down for the count, and then all of a sudden Yuri shows up, and she starts trying to get some of that revenge she was talking about earlier in this DLC. And I'm just gonna honestly let the scene play out because I think it's actually pretty intense, and I'm gonna just let it play out.
I'm against nature. Maybe not such a good idea after all, huh?
Pal, you weren't listening when I said long term. Old school Maji's got patience. Knows how to wait till just the right moment.
Yuri! What are you...
Oh, okay.
Yuri! Don't do this! Captain! Stop! This is bad.
Last time we met, you said something about fear. How do you feel now?
Just dandy.
Yeah, and that scene's pretty intense. Yuri did follow through with it. She shoots Hammerhead in the head and kills him, and that's the end of him, and that's the end of this DLC. Or is it? No, of course that's not the end of him. The whole damn DLC is about Hammerhead and taking over the districts and all that crap. Of course he's going to be back somehow for some reason, because when you die in this game or any superhero-related thing, you don't truly stay dead. I then get my last 2 trophies for the DLC, one for beating the actual DLC itself. Okay.
Steel Skull, Glass Jaw. Complete Bring the Hammer Down mission.
And then the next trophy for getting 100% completion within the DLC.
There you go. The city is my family. Complete 100% of the Turf Wars.
I then start the third and final DLC of this game, Silver Lining.
Project Olympus. From what we can gather.
So the DLC starts off a few weeks after the events of Turf Wars. Hammerhead has been missing. Nobody has seen him since he broke out of the ambulance. All the gang members and guys and goons and stuff have saber weapons now, so they're using jetpacks and guns, trying to take over parts of the city. Spider-Man's still trying to catch up on all of it in order to stop him. And then Silver Sable returns, and because she's quite pissed off, to be honest, that everybody has her stuff, she wants to know how they're getting it and where Hammerhead is in order to stop him. And no, Peter really wants to work with her in order to work together to stop Hammerhead and find out what's really going on. She's just kind of like, nah, and then leaves. And with that coming to a close, that unlocks my first trophy in this DLC for completing that mission.
Frenemy.
And then a little bit into the DLC, we're playing the main story, and Silver Sable and Spider-Man both find out about this truck driver that's stealing a bunch of Sable weapons and armor and stuff like that from Oscorp Industries. So you both know that if you can stop him, you can get some answers on where possibly Hammerhead might be hiding, to which Silver Sable uses a gun pretty much to his head, demanding it. And he's kind of like, nah, because if I tell you, he's just going to kill me anyways. And if I don't tell you, you'll kill me. So either which way, I'd rather just have you know and you kill me. But pretty much right away, she doesn't really take much convincing at this point, and she agrees to work with Spider-Man. But not before putting a little nasty tracker on you so she knows where you are at all times, and then she leaves. Then pretty much right away in the very next story mission of the game, you run into a bunch of enemies that are trying to steal a truck. You beat the crap out of them, and then one guy's like, hey, listen, man, my boss, Hammerhead, he wants to meet up with Silver Sable, so next time you see her, just let her know. And she just kind of pops up because she has the tracker, and she's like, cool, give me the address.
Give me the address.
And then pretty much right away, you and Silver Sable go to that address, which just happens to be at the top of this building right here. And you and her immediately run into Hammerhead, who just happens to have a brand new body. An all-robotic Sable armor body. He must be a huge fan of like RoboCop or RoboCop 2 or any of the RoboCops. They're all pretty good. But maybe not that third one with the samurai guys. I don't know what was really going on in there. That's a bunch of nonsense. But anyways, the first two RoboCops, watch those. Those ones are good. Anyway, so Mr. Hammerhead here has a brand new body, all RoboCop and stuff. And he just starts kind of beating the crap out of you and Silver Sable on the plane. And his plan is to just kill you both right here. Then out of nowhere, Black Cat returns from the dead and saves you. And then the plane goes down and crashes, and he walks off with Silver Sable into the sunset, or into the distance, or into the sewers, or just somewhere. And then you and Black Cat have a little bit of a one-on-one where she's pretty much told you she faked her death in order to hide from Hammerhead. And that's pretty much about it. And then she gives you the little USB thing from the first DLC. And then she disappears to never be seen again. Or at least not in this game ever again. Maybe in the second. Or Miles Morales game. I don't know. We'll find out. And then going back to the stuff that's around the map, there's even more screwball challenges that have to be done. So this is the last one right here. I complete this one and get Spectacular on it and get my trophy for this DLC for getting Spectacular or higher on all the screwball challenges.
Almost awesome. I should put that on a business card.
Get Spectacular and better on all the screwball challenges.
Now, after completing the final screwball challenge, you have to get Screwball herself, who's going around the city like a crazy person. As you can see, I'm chasing her going through balls and have to shoot down drones and stuff like that. And that's all this mission is. You just have to catch up to her, and I'll give it a little prompt to press Y. And then, or not Y, triangle, in order to attack her and then pin her to the ground. That'll complete out her entire storyline from all three of the DLCs. And then that's my next trophy in the game for catching her.
Of course you do. Mind if I live stream on the way to the station?
Officially unfollowed.
Unplugged. Complete the screwball chase.
Now, there is one small side quest in this game, in this DLC, that you have to do that has a couple of parts related to it, but nothing really too difficult. All you're essentially doing is getting supplies and stuff for this guy right here to take back to his home country and to help a bunch of people there. And that's it. And it's called Aiding a Human. That's the name of the quest, and there's a trophy for it. So this is the final mission right here, and I'm completing it, and then that's my next trophy in the game for completing
Body
it.
was on the back of it.
Is it me? Or is the world a little brighter right now?
The wages
I'm just gonna
of
bask in
war.
this good feeling for at least the next few seconds.
Complete the Aiding a Human mission.
You then track down to where Silver Sable was taken, and she's about to be tortured right before you save her and let her free. She then beats the crap out of this guy, And then after this, after all of this, she finally gains your trust, and she's like, "All right, yeah, we'll work together now, so that we can just stop Hammerhead, because this nonsense needs to stop already."
I will call soon.
Alright, progress far enough into the story, and you're eventually going to unlock this little collectible over here. It looks like a magnifying glass inside of a blue circle. It's for cases that were unsolved, I guess, or crimes that were unsolved. I don't know, where people died in really weird ways. Crime scene recording, so there'll always be a tape recorder there. Kind of just have to keep scanning the area until you find it. There are 9 of these, so this is the last one I should have to collect. Now, either you'll get the trophy for collecting all of them, or there's a quest afterwards for collecting all of them, and that's how you get the trophy. But this is the last one right here. So yes, after getting that last tape recorder, is actually a little side quest you have to complete right after that last one in order to get the trophy. But it's very short, very quick, and pops up right away. You don't really have to do anything except go to this location and interact with the body. Spoiler alert here, pretty much Yuri's the one that's been leaving all these tape recorders everywhere, and this is proof that she's just gone full-blown evil at this point, and now Spider-Man just kind of has to stop her. Obviously, it's not going to be in this game, so I'm assuming she's in either Miles Morales or she's in Spider-Man 2. I honestly don't know, but hey, we'll find out when we get there.
For sure, but killing him?
And like I said, that's my next trophy for completing all of this right here.
Damn. Unacceptable. Complete the Scales of Justice mission.
Then to close out the rest of this DLC, then meet up with Silver Sable one last time. You find out where the base is, which is in the middle of the ocean, and it's invisible. And you're gonna go there, and you're gonna fight Hammerhead, and you're gonna prevail, hopefully, as a hero, as the hero of the journey and of the story, to stop Hammerhead once and for all. Now, this is by far the hardest fight in the entire game, and I'm talking from the base game, from the DLCs, everything. Hammerhead in this fight is intense. He hits really, really hard. He does not get staggered very easily. The webs don't do anything to him. There's enemies with him as he's fighting you. Everything you just don't want in a boss fight, when something like when your mechanic stops working, everything. Now, see how the plane is smashing him in the face and the forehead? So essentially what you have to do is keep dodging his attacks and killing guys until it gives you a little prompt to use the plane to attack him. But first you have to get rid of all of the blue armor that's around his body as well. And it comes down to when he shoots his rockets, you need to reflect like the rockets back at him, and when he shoots the beam and stuff like that. It's the only way to get rid of it. Not the rockets, sorry. The mines on the floor. To throw it at him quickly, but they quickly explode, so you need to be quick. And it's the mines that are coming from the plane. As you can see, I just hit him with one right there, and it got rid of the blue shielding around him. Now you can kind of attack him, but you have to ultimately wait until you can build up a full-blown focus bar in order to do a crit on him. Do this like 2 or 3 times, and then the plane will attack him as well. It's a long fight, and it's definitely the hardest fight in the game. I believed I did it in the first try, though. I didn't die on it at all, but I'm also not on the hardest difficulty either. I'm sure on the hardest difficulty, this guy is no joke. But finally, at the end of the fight, he is defeated. Silver Sable decides to just smash the plane right into him. And Hammerhead go boom, man. I mean, Hammerhead go boom. And then he comes out from the fire all Terminator 1-like. Man, this dude really loves, like, robot movies from the late 80s, early 90s. You know, RoboCop, Terminator 2 potentially here, RoboCop 2 maybe, I don't know. Even what's that other one with the robot that talks? Short Circuit? Anybody seen Short Circuit? I haven't seen that movie in like fucking 25 years. But anyways, this dude must have really loved robot movies from back then, because he even does the whole fire thing, and then he dies like a robot. And then Silver Sable and Spider-Man have one more one-on-one chat, and she thanks us for everything that we've done to help her out. And she kind of considers us a friend now. She doesn't give us a hug or anything, but she kind of considers Spider-Man a friend now. And then she gets in her little plane and, you know, rides off into the sunset. And that's the end of the main story to the DLC.
Did he just leave his body there?
I then unlock my last 2 trophies for the DLC, one for beating the DLC itself.
Terminated. Complete the 1 + 1 = win mission.
And the other trophy for getting 100% completion in all districts of the DLC.
and the city sleeps. Obtain 100% completion in the Silver Lining DLC. Okay, so this is it. The final trophy I have in the game, which will also unlock me the platinum. I saved this specific trophy for last because it's one just incredibly easy to get, and it's no way of accidentally unlocking it. You kind of have to go out of your way to get it, but there's nothing else you really have to do to unlock it other than going and doing it. For anybody that's ever played Batman Arkham City, there is a trophy / achievement for going to the alleyway where your parents died and pay respect to it. So it's kind of essentially the same thing as that. You're going to go to Uncle Ben's grave and pay respect to it, and that's it. It is located up here in this top area of the map where I am right now. There's a book bag here. There's a cemetery up here. So as you can see, this is the whole map right here. You know, the whole city, Central Park there. So this is where it is in this cemetery up here. When you get to the area, as you can see, it's glowing gold. So interacting with it will unlock me my last trophy from the base game, along with the platinum. So let's do it.
Hey, Uncle Ben. Miss you. Doing my best to make you proud.
With great power. Pay respects at Ben Parker's grave. See? And there we go, baby. My platinum. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that was it. That was my journey to getting the Platinum Trophy in Spider-Man. Thank you so much, everybody, for sitting here today watching this video. Please give me a like. Please give me a subscribe or a follow or whatever. Comment. Let me know how the video was, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you would like to see me add into it maybe. I don't know. Or maybe some examples of games you'd like to see me play in the future. So as far as the game itself went, I really, really loved it. It was exactly what I was looking for. I haven't gotten to play a Spider-Man game in a very, very long time, since Shattered Dimensions or something. So I give this game a solid 8.5 out of 10. Absolutely great game. I highly recommend it to anybody that hasn't gotten the opportunity to play it. Play it. You'll love it. It's a lot of fun. And don't forget to subscribe. Please, 100 subscribers. This is going to be the terrible game that I get all the achievements in, alright? Till next time, I'm your host, Psychotic Mr. L. Right back at you. Hi guys, so yes, thank you for watching this video you just watched. If you liked it, if it helped you in any way or whatever, I got these two other ones right over here that you can also watch as well, wherever they may be, somewhere on the screen. But yes, thank you for watching, and if you liked what you saw, absolutely watch these videos as well. Thank you.